I can't type. I don't take dictation. I won't sharpen pencils. I can't file. My boss calls me indispensable.
Miss Jones,
Just a minute.
will you make a copy of this?
Naturally. I push the button on the Xerox 914. I make perfect copies of whatever my boss needs by just turning a knob and pushing a button. Anything he can see, I can copy in black and white on ordinary paper. And am I fast? I can make 7 copies in a minute. By the way, I never need wet chemicals. My 914 is a dry machine, powder dry. Sometimes my boss asks me which is the original, and sometimes I don't know. Here, Mr. Smith, I'm going to lunch with Mother.
When did you start baking from scratch?
It's not scratch, Mom. It's new Pillsbury Plus.
A yellow cake this firm could only be from scratch.
It's Pillsbury Plus.
A cake this moist could only be from scratch. A cake this rich could only be from scratch.
It's Pillsbury Plus. The plus is pudding. Pudding right in the mix to add that moistness.
Rich flavor. New Pillsbury Plus, huh? Looks like scratch has met its match.
Know how I save money? With unsweetened Kool-Aid and sugar, just like my mom did. I remember how she'd mix a big pitcherful. Kool-Aid was so good and so inexpensive. It's still as delicious as ever. Today, with my sugar, it's about 12 cents a quart. Has vitamin C, too. I like giving Kathy what my mom gave me.
Kool-Aid brand soft drink mix and your sugar. You loved it as a kid, you trust it as a mother.
Why are women so happy about new Tickle antiperspirant? Is it because Tickle is the first roll-on with a big, wide ball? Is it because Tickle has a new, quick-drying formula? Or is it because Tickle helps keep you dry all day? Make yourself happy. Staying drier is nicer with a little Tickle.
America's been waiting for a family show about a real family.
Maybe you're just old-fashioned. Yeah, maybe.
A show that reveals the joys and the sorrows.
You better all dig down and find your pennies because this family could be in deep financial trouble.
The triumphs and the defeats of real people.
Mary, would you lay off him? He's just trying to do his job.
The Bradfords are the family. 8 is Enough is the show. Right after Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley.
Day out here stretches from sunup to sundown, but there's always time for a Marlboro, the cigarette that gives you flavor, rich and full.
Remember, this is
I can't type.
I screwed that up, didn't I?
I don't take dictation. I won't sharpen pencils. I can't file. My boss calls me indispensable.
Miss Jones,
Just a minute.
will you make a copy of this?
Naturally.
I was going to make a disclaimer about not smoking. Smoking's bad for you. I don't recommend you do it.
914. I make perfect copies of whatever my boss needs by just turning a knob and pushing a button. Anything he can see, I can copy in black and white on ordinary paper. And am I fast? I can make 7 copies in a minute. By the way, I never need wet chemicals. My 914 is a dry machine, powder dry. Sometimes my boss asks me which is the original, and sometimes I don't know. Here, Mr. Smith, I'm going to lunch with Mother.
When did you start baking from scratch?
It's not scratch, Mom. It's new Pillsbury Plus.
A yellow cake this firm could only be from scratch.
It's Pillsbury Plus.
A cake this moist could only be from scratch. A cake this rich could only be from scratch.
It's Pillsbury Plus. The plus is pudding. Pudding right in the mix to add that moistness.
Ding ding. That's right. Ring that bell, people. It's IRATE Prostate. It's Sunday. It's oh man. It's been a lot of curveballs coming at me. All right. I'm having to duck and shit sometimes. But yeah, I want to thank Streamlabs OBS for having me to reload the stream key in from Restreamio. Just on a whim. I don't know why. But anyway. We're here, and that's what's important, right? Ice cream is like, you know, like I tell everybody, ice cream is a treat that, you know, to most people, and to me a treat is talking to somebody I haven't met yet, or somebody I want to know more about, especially in this situation. And I had today's guest has a partner that I had on like about a month and a half ago, I want to say, and I was supposed to ask Arthur to join me like not long after that, and I screwed up and forgot stuff, and so but I remembered, and finally I've got him into his house, as it were. Ladies and Americans, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce y'all to Arthur Nix.
Greetings, everybody. And to be fair, I would not have been available before today anyway, so no harm, no foul.
Hell yeah. Well, that's a good thing then. Yeah. So sorry about that. Bobbing and weaving, though, it's a good day. Today's a good day because I'm above ground, as they say.
Yeah.
So what we do here is we just hang out and talk. That's it. I already screwed it up for everyone. I did. Yeah, I had to give that smoking disclaimer because somebody gave me some crap last time I showed that commercial, and I like it just for the historical purpose. But I screwed up when I tried to mute it and I stopped it and restarted it. So hashtag boomer. Yes, man. Yeah, so, all right, people. Let's say to the chat before we get going. That's what I always do, kind of chilling out, hanging out. Prince, fresh minced meat. All right, hold on. Prince, fresh minced meat. I want to say minced meat, but it's minced French mint. That is a tough one. That is a mouthful. Becca Fairley, all right. Of course, Ridgedale Brand, I salute you. As what I was referring to, Ridgedale Brand is the official name of the how do you want to say it? Is it the show, or is it like a LLC, or is it a concept, or you know what?
It's a concept. Okay. There's no actual LLC set up yet because we're not making any money, and it costs money every year to operate an LLC. Right. So I'm not going to spend money if we're not earning any.
I feel you. But totally concur.
Basically, the parent name is Rhetorical Entertainment because when I started the YouTube channel, I didn't want to spend a bunch of time on the minutia, and Rhetorical Entertainment was a name that I'd come up with when I was 19. So I'm like, let's just throw that on there and do stuff. But it just didn't fit, especially when Mitch joined me and we started doing a bunch of stuff together. And so we were going to go with Hillsdale Brand because it was a joke company that we had come up with, him and myself and a bunch of other people. But it turned out there's actually a company that is called Hillsdale Brand that makes like furniture. So we changed it to Ridgedale brand to make sure there's no brand confusion and we don't cause problems for a legitimate business.
Right. You don't end up on a docket somewhere for a lawsuit.
Well,
you know what I'm
even
saying?
if there's no lawsuit involved, we just didn't
right.
want to cause any harm to anybody.
Well, some people are assholes, man. So I want to say hey to Mitch the Ripper, your partner out there. Uzi Cuba, lovely, my gimped up woman. Dude, her knee is the size of a basketball. And we don't know what's going on. I mean, she heard
too much time on the internet. I did not hear GIMP in the context you were saying it.
Right, I know, man. Exactly. She's gimpy. She's not in the rubber suit tonight. Let's see. There's Neil. Hey, man, what's happening? Moonbase Radio. And Nathan Rada, what's happening? It's nice to have people hanging out. I'm glad we got it off the ground, and we're where we need to be broadcast wise. So it's that was a nice little curveball. So it's got me on my toes now. All right, I'm toesy, as they say. That's actually, they don't say that, but whatever. Hey Beams, what's up, man? I'm gonna sit back, kick back, and chill out to some killer conversation, because I want to start talking with Mr. Arthur Nix here. You want to call you just Arthur? Is that cool?
Arthur's fine, yeah.
Is there any?
I do not like being called Art. Art is a degree that's a waste of time.
Well, you're right, actually. So, all right, so people, you know the drill. All right, hey, tourists, see they're rolling in, starting to roll in now. So if you have any questions for Arthur, just remember to write them down during the show, and then towards the end of the show, I'll consult you and for some questions. Okay. But I already know what Becca's questions, one of her questions, is going to be, so I put it in here just to piss her off. And here we go. So, first of all, how often do you get told you sound just like Ben Shapiro?
I've actually never been told that.
Nobody's ever told you that, man?
No.
Yeah,
I've been told that I have a Ben Shapiro style of phrasing, and the kind of similar presentation and points, but not that I sound like Ben Shapiro.
Right. All right. So, chat, give me a 1 if he sounds like Ben Shapiro, and a 2 if I'm just totally off. All right. So, but I swear, man, when because I had y'all on, like it was like last week, and I'm going, who does he sound like? Who does he sound like? And today I was prepping, I was watching your Friday show and getting quite fucking angry about it. Excuse my language, but man, and that's something, if you want to explore that in a little bit, we can, because it's outrageous as hell. And I said, holy shit, he sounds like Ben Shapiro. That's who it is. That's
wow.
At least to me. Moonbase Radio does not agree. But Becca and Turish are my friends, and so is Neil. So they all agree with me because I'm always right. No, I'm kidding. I'm just old and trying to act young. You know what I'm saying? All right. So how long have you been around YouTube, and what was the main reason you decided to, like what I call, get on the other side of the screen and start producing content, news-based content?
I started the channel the first week of January in 2015, and at that point I was only doing really board game stuff. That was mostly what I was watching at the time, mostly the Dice Tower, actually. And I wanted to talk about board games and create content. I've always wanted to create content that's entertaining for people and have good conversations and interesting conversations, and board games was what I felt comfortable doing at the time, even though I also was very much inspired to start doing content by Gamergate. I didn't start getting political until late 2016. Actually, I think it was September 2016 was when I started doing more political content. And then 2017 was when I basically cut out all of the non-political content for my content creation. And I was doing once or twice a month early on. and then started doing weekly content probably about halfway through 2015. And then tried to ramp up and slow down, but at the time I was working 2 jobs and had just had a kid, and so things were busy. But yeah, 2015. To make a long answer very long.
Yeah. Well, so what made you want to do it?
Just to create content. The large goal was to create content that would engage people and entertain people.
Mm-hmm.
That was why I was okay with the name Rhetorical Entertainment, was to create content that kind of made people think, but was largely entertaining. Originally, I had intended on going to film school. That ended up not happening, and it turned out to be a really good thing, because that school is no more, and nobody who has graduated from that school works in the industry. So it would have been a waste of money and a waste of time. But I wanted to make movies and TV shows. I don't know if that's what I want to do right now, but like on the YouTube channel. But Mitch and I do have some entertainment exclusive content that we're working on that we will announce at a later date.
Darkstar6909 donates $10. I don't think Streamlabs counted my last dono. Glad you and yours made it through the storms. And there was another one too. Glad you and Uzi made it okay through the storms. Well, thanks, Darkstar. Send us $20. So sorry to interrupt. Just want to make sure we took care of that before we got rolling. And at least that's working. The chat box is not working, and I don't know why. So, I don't know, man. They just updated this thing, so I'm sure I'll probably have to just reload everything. That'll work. Anyway, on that note, so all right, so when people turn to your channel and they see you and they listen to you, how much would you say what you're presenting is you?
100%. I don't have the time or the energy to be a fake persona. And I feel like that would be a lack of integrity. Some of the stuff I do is a little over the top. Some of the stuff I do is a little dialed back, for entertainment value. But it is me. The guy you interact with in the chat is going to be the guy you'd interact with if we were sitting around having a drink together.
Gotcha. Well, cool, man. So let's see. So all right, we're getting into the kind of the developmental stuff. Is there a food from your childhood that you hated, but now as an adult you actually enjoy it? You love it?
Fish. I hated all forms of fish when I was a kid. I enjoyed fish sticks until about the age of 5 or 6. But now I actually really enjoy salmon, mostly ocean fish. But yeah, I hated all forms of seafood.
Cool. And I don't hear that one a lot, to be honest, but that's, and I bet that's common, to be honest, because I think a lot of people have issues with fish.
Yeah.
It's like, anyway, I could go on an excursion about this place I worked, and it's like every time somebody would nick fish, there was a person that would just complain about it ad nauseum. JTR serial killer, man, Roll Tide. It's good to see you here. Richdale brand's the only brand you need. I agree. If you could describe your family with one word, what would it be?
Oh, geez. Chaotic. I've got a 4-year-old and an almost 2-year-old.
Wow. So, all right. So, who would you say is the most influential person on you as a child?
Probably my dad.
What kind of kid were you?
Quiet, relatively risk averse, but still very curious and wanted to be creative. I just didn't know where to put that creative outlet.
Right.
It actually took me until I was in my mid-20s to put it up on YouTube.
That's interesting. So let's see. I'm gonna kind of skip back and forth and jump around because I want to ask you about what. So what? How were you in elementary, middle school?
In elementary school, I was a troublemaker until my parents pulled me out of school. I was homeschooled from 3rd grade through the end of high school.
Oh wow.
In middle school, I was, I would say I was awkward and a little geeky, but I think I got along well with people. I had friends at church that kind of took me under their wing and taught me how to not be so socially awkward. So that definitely helped. But I was definitely geeky and nerdy. I was into video games, board gaming stuff. You know, the stuff that's kind of mainstream now, but wasn't then.
Right. So, would you say the church is a big part of your life?
It very much was up until I was about 21, because the church that I was going to, I was in the band in youth group starting at about 13. And so once I became 18, I was a volunteer in the youth group. I was in the band in the youth group. I was in the adult band at church. And we had 3 services on Sunday and 2 services on Saturday. So I was doing practice for both bands and then doing service Wednesday night for youth group, 2 services Saturday night for church, 3 services Sunday morning for church.
So what were you playing?
Drums.
Okay.
And I was at church 40 hours a week. I was working 40 hours a week, and then I was at school 20 hours a week.
Holy
and it
smoke.
burned me out.
I bet.
Yeah, it burned me the hell out.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, do you still play?
We go to church.
Yeah.
Well, we go to church just on Sundays, and that's it. And so we do skip.
Well, I was gonna say, do you still play drums?
No, we actually sold my drum kit so we could buy our first dining room table when we bought our house.
So it's like, did you have any other talents, art wise, or reading, or drawing? I mean, writing.
I've written a book with Mitch. We've tried to do some fiction stuff, but time. It takes time. But I did work. I was on cast at an improv theater for almost 10 years.
Oh, wow. So that makes you really good on your feet, man. I bet. Does that help with your streaming and stuff?
It does. When I do streaming or when I do the pre-recorded videos, I can take an article. If I see a good headline that looks like it's trending, I can take an article and react to it live. Sometimes I think it would be fun to take something and go in cold and have to do a reaction on YouTube, just to see if I could do it as well as when I do more preparation.
Yeah, because I tell you, man, prepping them makes a huge difference for me. That's for sure. I have to. I'm too water-headed at this point in time. You get old, man. You start forgetting words and shit in the middle of sentences. So
yep.
Getting old is it's an inevitability that everybody laughs at when you're young. Just wait.
Yeah, youth is wasted on the young.
Just no shit. I totally agree with that. All right, so let's see. We kind of talked on the family thing. What about holidays? Is there a season or holiday that's real special to you?
I really like Christmas time, but I also hate it because aside from my wife and my younger brother and my son, everyone else in my family, their birthdays are in December. So December is the most expensive month of the year for us.
I bet. Yeah, it's like I was born in the month after December, and it's always, yeah, you kind of just have to, this is your birthday and Christmas. So you'd hear that on Christmas, right?
Yeah.
And you felt cheated, just like I did.
Well, my family actually put a lot of effort because I have a twin brother, and they put a lot of effort into making sure that our birthdays were unique and special, and so they would not combine birthday and Christmas until we were old enough to understand that there was a specific budget set aside for birthday and Christmas, and Super Nintendo games cost about the budget for both my twin and myself for Christmas and birthday, and so we would request that it get combined. But that was a separate instance because then we were asking for it instead of the family diminishing our birthday.
Were you an identical twin?
Yes.
So I think you're the first identical twin I've ever interviewed, man. So this is I've got twin questions. You know, I'm sure it's like I apologize if it's like tedious for you. I'm getting my thing. Well, it's just gonna have to stay that way.
It's funny because my wife and I actually met at that improv theater, and my brother was there with his wife, and she had liked me, but we weren't like a couple yet. And she was waiting tables, and she saw me. Because I was in the sound booth that night because I was also the AV, the technical director at the theater. So she saw me go back into the green room, and then she comes out and sees my brother sitting with his wife at their table because they were also watching the show that night. And she's like, "Who is that woman that Arthur's sitting with? And I thought he was working tonight." And she got all jealous.
Oh.
Because most people didn't know that I was a twin.
That's kind of cool, though, right? Like, at least you knew she was interested in you.
Yep.
Man, excuse me. I'm trying to situate these. I don't know what happened. So, let's see. Other twin questions. So you guys are identical twins. Did you? Were there any differences in the way that you guys approached life, or were you guys pretty in lockstep? I mean, you were like automatically you were talking about the Nintendo games. You already had somebody to play with, right?
Right.
So what was that like growing up as a twin?
Well, I didn't really know anything different. It was nice to always have somebody around, and we're still really close, even though we live almost 2,000 miles apart now. But I mean, we've definitely approached life differently. He's a pastor and he works at a university.
Oh, wow.
And he's married. He got married a lot younger than I did. Which, I mean, there's nothing wrong or right with that. It's just that he was ready when he was, and she was ready when she was.
Yeah, man.
So they got married. They don't have kids, and that's just kind of the decision that they've made. He moved out right after we were 18, almost 19, to go live with his best friend in another state. Whereas I actually lived with my parents up until a year after we were married, except for about a year and a half living with roommates, at which point my wife was actually living with my mom.
All right, so how long have you and your wife been together?
We've been a couple for 10 years, and we've been married for 9. So we knew each other for a year, and then we started dating. And when we had been together for about 2 months, she moved in with my mom, and at that point, I was only employed part-time. So she and I were basically just hanging out at my mom's house 16 to 18 hours a day for a year.
Dude, I bet that got old quick.
Well, it actually was. It was very, very nice because we were able to grow together very, very quickly. And I mean, a lot of couples are together for 5 or 6 years and still not married. Whereas we got married a year and a day after we started dating.
Now, this is a good question that people. All right, so. Did you know that she was the one when you met her?
I did, but I didn't realize it until after we'd been married for about a year.
Okay. because I had the same experience with Uzi. That's why I ask it, and I don't ask it of a lot of married people, but it seems like to me, I don't know, it's easier to not get married, or it's easier to do the divorce thing. I think staying married takes a lot of work, you know, and commitment and focus. It's just not, you can't put it on autopilot, right?
No, you can't. I mean, almost 10 years in, and we're running into crazy stuff that we never thought we'd have to deal with. I mean, halfway through, we both decided that the right thing for us to do was to pack up and move away from everybody we know.
Well, and you know, if you're unified as a team, I mean, that's a lot. It makes it a lot easier than if you were alone, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what I'd do without my woman, dude. I'd be a mess. I'm already a mess. What I'm saying. All right. So if you could go back in time and talk to little Arthur at the age of 8, what would you tell him?
Set aside 10 grand and buy Bitcoin when it's at 89 cents a coin.
No shit. You know, I had a friend, man, I swear to God, I had this conversation. I said, what do you think about this Bitcoin thing? He was, blah, blah, blah. He explained, you know, what it was. This is right when it came out. And he was a money guy. And I said, so what if I like popped in $1,000, just, you know, got it? He said, I wouldn't advise that. It's going to go nowhere. And I'll listen to him. Just saying.
Yeah. I saw a picture of a flyer for a StarCraft tournament where first place was $500, second place was $300, third through fifth was 25 Bitcoins.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, that was basically $20.
So think about it.
So now it'd be 1.5 million.
So being mediocre actually was a plus in the long run for these people. Think about it.
You didn't know it at the time, but it's hilarious.
Man, it's crazy. We got our Dar is in the chat. Greetings, Dr. Functional, Moonbase Radio. I don't know if I said your name earlier, but I did see you, Duck Dog. You dirty duck dog, you. All right. All right, so we're going to here, and yeah, the Bitcoin thing, that's a good answer, man. I like your answers. You're on it.
Also, more practically, just ignore girls until you're in your 20s.
Right.
Don't worry about it. Don't fall in love with her, and that girl's a bitch, and that one is psycho.
So, all right, so what was going through puberty like with the twin brother? Did y'all get in a lot of fights or anything? Fist fights and shit? Or?
Not really. So my parents actually started a sound company when I was 11, and part of my homeschooling was working with that company. So we were in close quarters a lot. We started in an RV, but very quickly outgrew that. So we ended up in a tractor trailer. So it was me, my twin, my younger brother, and my parents. And about a third of the year half of the year was spent on the road. So about a third of the time on the road, we were in the cab of an 18-wheeler. 5 people. 2 of whom are going through puberty. So most of that was us sitting in our seat with headphones on, reading and listening to our Sony Discman CD players.
Classic. That's interesting. So you didn't go to high school. So all right, so after you finished your main education, what did you decide to do?
I stayed with the sound company. I worked in the warehouse. Building road cases and running the rental shop. At some point, management did not train me well enough to be a good manager, and so they gave me the opportunity to get management training. And at that point, between work and church, I was burned out. And so I'm like, just find somebody who has run a rental shop before. I don't have the energy to do it. And they found somebody, and the guy was a great guy. He ended up taking the shop to places it could not have gone with me as the manager. It ended up cutting my hours, which was also good because I was able to devote more time to the theater because I was also working at the theater at the time. I'd already started there. And spending more time at the theater allowed me to meet my wife. And and then I spent some time working fast food for about 6 months, and then found my current job, which has allowed me to work from home for 9 years.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It sounds like, you know, it sounds like you're in a sweet spot right now. It's a good thing.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. And really, I really want to urge everybody to subscribe to Ridgedale Brand. I really like the way they select their, you know, a lot of people just do you know, the news that everybody knows, but they seem to focus on these great things that directly attack the Constitution at times, right? Mm-hmm. And I really appreciate that focus, man. It's I highly recommend it. So what was the craziest thing you did as a kid?
As a kid, not much. I mean, you would probably think it's crazy, but I basically lived in the service halls of hotels, because we were crew for conventions, and so we would go in through the loading dock. We traveled through the service halls, used the freight elevators. Didn't avoid the lobby necessarily, but we knew our way around hotels, ins and outs, and no one would stop us. Yeah, even as a 13 to 17-year-old kid, I got stopped one time by a kitchen manager, and that was actually at a hotel in Canada. But all the rest of the time, I had free reign. I could have gone anywhere in those hotels. And actually, that hotel in Canada, at the event that we were there at, as we were striking, a snowboarding convention was coming in, and there were crates of probably $500,000 of the next year's Burton snowboards that they were going to release there. And I could have opened those crates and walked out with one, and nobody would have stopped me. I didn't.
Man, so it sounds like you've got a lot of like enriched experience with like meeting a lot of different people and stuff. That's kind of cool.
I've actually never, the only like semi-famous person I've ever actually met was Bruce Campbell, and that was a paid meet and greet to get my photo taken with him at Denver Comic-Con.
So what's your favorite Bruce Campbell movie?
Crime Wave.
Interesting shot there, brother. Man,
have you seen it?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's like it's like nobody else was going to answer that answer. That's excellent, man. You know, it's like mine is, of course, Bubba Hotep, but you know, it is.
That's a good movie. Mitch and I actually did that for the watch party on the Twitch channel.
Oh yeah,
a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. It's right on Twitch. You guys do like a MS3K thing.
Yep, Monday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern. Ish. Yeah, I have a standing obligation on Monday nights, and so it's basically when that thing ends.
Gotcha. Somebody asked something. Well, if you got more twin questions, just write them down and we'll address them later. I don't know. It's kind of a cool, you know, it's like a novelty I haven't run into a lot, you know, in my experience. So I hope you're comfortable with me, like kind of probing into that. It was kind of fun.
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't really get asked a lot of questions about it because, like I said, most of the people in my adult life don't know that I'm a twin.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, it's like people really lead off with that, you know, unless you're together and you're dressed exactly alike. Was that a thing? Right. Were you guys dressed exactly alike?
No. Every once in a while, my parents did it for photos, but that's just because it was a lot easier to just get those kinds of clothes. So you pick them up. But they tried to dress us uniquely and let us choose our own style and develop our own personalities.
Cool. And you did.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the only time people have a hard time telling us apart really is if we're in one room and everyone else is in another room. Like my brother and I will get into a heated conversation about politics, which we basically agree on, but we're both very heated about the topic. And there will be plenty of times where my wife will look at his wife and say, "Can you tell which one's yours?" Or the other way around.
So kind of, I was going to say, it's like a lot of times in twin situations, one's more of an alpha than the other. Would you say that's the case with y'all, or?
I think we both probably think we're the alpha.
Yeah, man, have you seen Invincible?
No.
Oh, dude, that was so funny. There's a character and his clone that keep arguing about who's the real one. It's really funny. That's I highly recommend that. It's probably the best superhero thing I've seen since The Boys. I don't know if you've seen that either.
I've not yet.
Oh, dude. All right. So, moving on. We asked what the craziest thing you did was when you were a kid. So, this is, I guess it was. So, what was the first big concert you remember?
So being in the AV industry, even though everything we did was conventions, going to concerts wasn't stuff that we really did all that often.
Mm-hmm.
Because it just wasn't something we did. We did go to a concert at Red Rocks that was, the headliners were the Newsboys and the OC Supertones.
I'm drawing a total zero on that.
So
I have no idea
if you didn't grow up listening to Christian rock in the 90s and early 2000s, you probably have no idea who they are. But the OC Supertones were like a ska rap Christian group, and then the Newsboys is a brand. They used to be a band, but they don't have a single original member left in the band, and none of the founding members are around anymore. And so it's just a way to market for the Christian music industry to keep selling more crap albums.
I understand. Yeah, and a lot of people that I've interviewed, at Christian concerts was their first concert. So, yeah, that's a good way.
I did do lights for the W's.
All right.
And that was when they were opening for Five Iron Frenzy.
All right, so when you were playing drums, all right, so was there any band in particular that outside of the Christian scene that you were into?
No, the first secular album I bought, I would have been 17, and I bought it at the Virgin Records store in downtown Disney, and it was Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I actually listened through the whole album twice and read through the lyrics in the store to make sure that my parents would not disapprove of the lyrics.
What do you think would happen if they had? They wouldn't let you have it?
They would have told me I'm not allowed to listen to it. I don't think they would have taken the album away from me, because at that point I was old enough. They respected what I did with my money, but I would have gotten a talking to.
All right, so the religion. All right, so your religion that that you're with now, is it the same one that you grew up with your parents?
The church we went to growing up. So we went to a few different denominations. Religiously we're Christians, but we went to different denominations. We went to multiple Baptist churches, IFCA, which is a small denomination, and the Covenant Church, and then quite a few non-denominational churches, mostly Baptist, very Protestant tradition.
Gotcha.
I like to joke that Henry VIII had it right about Catholics.
That's so funny. Nice. All right, so moving on, especially, man, this new pope is like, I grew up Catholic, so it's like I can't stand him.
The new pope is a commie.
He's a communist. Yes, I know. I'm totally aware of it. That's horrible. So all right, so wow. So what was You remember the first time you got aroused or were attracted to a girl? You realized that girls were different than just hitting or pulling their hair.
I don't remember a specific instance of realizing that. No.
Okay. What did you ever experiment with drugs or alcohol?
I smoked pot one time when I was 22, and it was the worst night of my life.
Oh wow.
Talk
about that.
We were actually going to watch a movie at a friend's house, and one of the girls at the theater had her medical card, because it was right after the medical thing started in Colorado, so I might have been older than 22.
Mm-hmm.
I had to have been. And he's like, "Hey, I haven't smoked pot in 15 years. Can I do it?" "Sure." "Hey, Arthur, do you want to?" "Yeah, sure. Why the hell not?" Which turned into me not wanting to fall asleep, remembering that I hadn't fed my dog, so I can't fall asleep and stay here all night. And then, oh shit, I have to work in the morning, so I have to actually get some sleep. So I didn't enjoy the experience at all, and I don't like feeling like I'm not in control. I did black out one time, followed by a 16-hour throwing up hangover on Grey Goose, so I can't drink vodka anymore. But aside from that, I drink, but not to excess. I drink because I enjoy the flavor.
So
I don't like being drunk.
All right, so what about that time that you drank the Grey Goose? What was the circumstances around that?
I was watching TV. I had recently turned 21 and was allowed to buy my own alcohol. I'm like, okay, I'm still figuring stuff out. I've seen this apple martini thing on television, so I bought some apple pucker and some Grey Goose vodka, because I heard Grey Goose is really, really good. And I had a rocks glass, and I figured, let's see, 2 fingers of apple pucker, 2 fingers of vodka. That'll be that's about the size of a martini, right? Mm-hmm. In a 12-ounce rocks glass. So I drank 8 ounces, I think. Yeah, 6 to 8 ounces of sugary hard liquor.
Dude.
And had only eaten a bowl of cereal that day.
Dude, did you throw up, did you say?
Yes.
Oh,
many times. I bet for 16 hours.
Hey, man, I'm an alcoholic. A recovered alcoholic, as they say. But yeah, man, just thinking about that makes me want to. It gets in the back of my throat like I'm, It's like, dude, it's a lot of booze, man. And when you get that sweet stuff, it gets into your system faster, and man, it make you all crazy. And the grits will blow. That's what we call vomiting here in the South. If you didn't catch that, regulars, I will use the term blow grits to mean puke. So I'm just saying, we blew some grits last night. All right, so talk about you met your girl, and y'all got married, and what made you decide you wanted to marry her?
It wasn't really anything specific. It was just as we knew each other and got to know each other, we figured out that we were compatible, and I was worth her working hard for, and she was worth me working hard for. It's about all I can really say about it. Like it just made sense, and we found each other worth the effort.
Right, and so did you guys decide to have a kid, or were you just going to say, let God's will kind of play a part in it and see what happens?
It was both. We actually we pulled the goalie when we had been married for 4 years.
Got you.
And it actually took, because she had been on birth control since she was 13. And so it actually took 8 months for us to have a kid, or for her to get pregnant. And She woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 2 days before I was supposed to travel to New York for work. Or no, it was the day. Yeah. And she says, and we had just bought a new house. And we were like, well, we've been trying for so long. We got this house. It's a nice house. Maybe we don't. Maybe we just don't. And she's like, I'm pregnant. And it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Fuck. Not like upset about it, but just like, fuck, dude, we have a lot of shit to get done now. And so I wasn't mad. We were excited because we wanted it. We had been trying. It was when we had stopped trying that we were able to finally conceive. And same thing when we got married. We had both decided to stop looking for someone, and that's when we found each other. But I did the math, and I'm like, okay, this is the month now. December 12th to December 20th is the due date, is what I said. That morning she said that she's pregnant, and she threw herself on the floor and threw a fit because she's like, not another fucking December birthday. Because we've been married for 4 years. She'd already spent a shitload of money on December birthday presents for my whole family.
Right.
And then we went and got the scan, and yeah, I was with our daughter was born in that ballpark.
Okay, and so you've got another child?
Yes, my son. It was the same thing. When we stopped trying, that's when we conceived, and he'll actually be 2 on Saturday.
That's great. So you got one of each. Are you gonna like try to leave it like that, or are you gonna keep going? And...
I'm gonna try really, really hard, but a vasectomy is expensive as fuck.
I got you.
It's $5,000.
Yeah.
I know. I've asked.
Or you just put your testicles in a blender, just grind them up.
Nope. Nope. Nope.
I'm sorry, man. I just my brain just say it, and I do sometimes. I'm just right. All right. So let's kind of shift gears and get into personal aesthetics. Do you like horror films?
Not really. I actually had only ever watched one actual horror film before I started doing watch parties with Mitch. And that was the original Saw. And my buddy and I were so upset by that movie that we had to watch Finding Nemo to scrub it from our brains.
Oh, wow. Man, I can imagine, because the way that they marketed it was genius. They threw a really bad copy out, for people that were on like news boards back then, or message boards. Yeah, out binaries, and it just looked like a bad copy. It looked homemade and stuff, and it was, the marketing was genius, I thought. But dude, I can imagine, seeing a movie like that. What about sci-fi movies? You into that kind of thing?
Yes. Actually, some of the earliest movies I remember seeing were Star Wars. And yeah, it was on VHS at the time. And I grew up watching Star Trek: The Next Generation. I remember seeing Stargate when that was new, and watching that. My dad showed me that at an age that I would not show my kids that movie. And nothing wrong with it, but sci-fi and fantasy are kind of what I enjoy the most.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm a big sci-fi fan too. What would you, so who's your favorite? What's your favorite horror? Science fiction movie.
Favorite science fiction. Have you ever seen Dark City?
Kiefer Sutherland?
No, Rufus Sewell.
No, I haven't seen that, man.
It's hard to quantify an actual favorite, but that one is one of my favorites. Equilibrium is another one that I very much
That's
enjoy.
A great
I know
movie.
A lot of people hate that movie.
I'll
but
defend
I
that shit. I love that movie. It's good. It's
but
good.
Dark City is a movie about it's a contained city controlled by these aliens who are dying, And what they're trying to do is isolate in humanity the soul of the human. And so what they do is every single night, they reset every person so that their entire lives stay the same, but they're in a different body. And Rufus Sewell's character is able to, at some point, is able to maintain continuity and stay in his own body through the next day. And so that's kind of the story of that movie, and he's trying to liberate the humans that are being held captive by these aliens.
Right. And they're a bunch of bald dudes? The aliens?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the movie. Yeah,
Kiefer Sutherland was in it.
He is in it. Yeah. That's a fantastic movie. And you know that a lot of people think that the Matrix films, or the first Matrix film specifically, is almost a direct shot-for-shot ripoff of that movie.
I would disagree.
Yeah, but there are some. Have you seen the comparisons with the shots and stuff though? I think some of those are just standard, like, you know, film school techniques, maybe. Because there's a couple movies where I've seen that kind of formulaic shooting, but it still worked. I mean, that's a good movie, man. So I totally concur with Dark City. If you hadn't seen it, get it, watch it. I think we own it. Don't we own that? I think we own it. Let's see. We are already here. All right. So what about video games? Are you big on video games?
I was more growing up. I tend to get bored pretty easily. So I have a Switch, and I have Breath of the Wild, the Mario All-Star game, Animal Crossing, Donkey Kong Country, and Mario Party. I think are the only 5 games I have for the Switch. And I basically rotate through those,
right?
Depending on what I'm in the mood for. And part of it has to do with what my kids can handle. Because my video game time is limited to when I'm hanging out with my kids. So it's something that I'm trying to make entertaining for them, but also they're at the age where nightmares happen. And so I want to limit their exposure to things that are going to wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
What's it like to be raising children in the current atmosphere that we have, and you know where it's possibly or probably going?
It's scary, but it's one of the things that I think is important, because if we're going to fix anything in society, we need a generational change. The only real way to make that change is to either raise kids or help other people obtain the resources to raise their kids to move past this. Society got to where it is because the left took over the school system, from basically cradle until post-doctorate, if you stay in college for that long. And they can indoctrinate you completely in that entire time. And they convinced parents that you don't need to parent your kids, just let the school system, the state, do that for you. So getting the ability to do alternative schooling. Some kids do not function in homeschooling. So you have to have an option that is going to give your kid the best education, but also be a parent and teach them not to follow the social justice and the leftist and socialist ideologies. And then that's the only thing I can do. If you're constantly in fear of society destroying your kids, then you're just going to be living in fear and you're not fighting the battle.
So is your faith a big part of how you cope and kind of what am I looking for? Use, I guess, to help reinforce values to your children.
Yes, we teach them the faith that we have, but at the end of the day, it has to be a personal choice. Like, we don't browbeat them. We tell them what we believe. We tell them that we believe that it's the truth. but they have to discover it for themselves.
Right.
Because, you know, mommy and daddy's faith cannot get you into heaven. You know, it has to be your own faith that gets you there. It's not the act of being baptized. It's not the act of saying your prayers in a certain order, giving money to whatever group. It is that personal relationship that needs to happen, and it's just that you have to teach your kids that that's the direction to go.
Right.
And so we try to live by example to our kids, and just let them know that that's what we believe in. At the end of the day, they're the ones that have to choose, and that's the way we should be doing everything. It's not just faith; it's to show your kids, show the future generations. Liberty, for example. Liberty is the best way to live. Show them. Let them experience why. Give them examples. Show them history that proves communism kills shitloads of people.
Right. No doubt, man. I totally agree with that. I think that's a great thing that you're doing, because, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with Yuri Bezmenov, former KGB agent that in the 80s would do these seminars and talk about how, you know, the KGB's their whole plan was to bring us down from the inside, and it's through the destruction of our values and our, you know, and our individuality and humanity towards each other, things like that. You know, marriage, the dissolution of marriage was one of them, but the dissolution of the nuclear family, you know, is part of that. And you know, atheism, the introduction, you know, you know, it goes down the line. There's all these different things that you know, found police. Faith in the police is one of the things, and you know, and something that I found is also that humor, you know, has fallen prey to this thing too, you know, and I think that comedy is an essential way to like deal with it, you know, because I think if you want to build the opposite of what's happening right now, you have to do the opposite of the shit that got us here, is what I'm trying to say. Yep. And I think that's the only way to do it, people. You know, I found spirituality and a relationship with the power greater than me, that I call God. And sometimes, you know, people, you know, are resistant to that kind of thing. But I don't know. You know, that's a discussion that's a private one and an internal one. But I think that in the end, it's like there has to be an invisible sun that gives its heat to everyone. So, and that's a song. I didn't make that up. That was pretty fucking profound. Damn, JT, that's all right, dude. But you know, went on a little spiritual rant there. All right, so all right, so what about anime? Are you an anime fan?
Not anymore. I as I grew older, my taste just went in a different direction. I don't want to say that I grew out of it, because that sounds like I'm calling anime fans childish or children, and that's not my intent. I stopped being able to enjoy animated content as well as I got older, and I think that's just the way my tastes have changed.
Mm-hmm. Well, that kind of makes sense. Somebody asked earlier if you played Warhammer 40K.
No, I had about 3,500 points of fantasy high elves. Never did 40K. And actually, when I sold my Warhammer army, probably 90% of it was still in shrink.
Oh, wow.
So I just, the hobby itself, the painting is so tedious, and it's the the size and the detail that needed to be done gave me stress and anxiety. I'm like, I don't want to turn a hobby into a job. There are plenty other tabletop things that I enjoy a lot more. That is a particular hobby that feels like work to me.
Right.
And even when I tried to play with other people's armies in the store, it's 30 minutes setting up, and then everybody's reading through books, and then
like
the first turn is like 45 minutes. So an hour and a half in, can I roll dice now? No, you have to look up this, and this in the book to see what kind of bonuses you get at the beginning. What the fuck? I've been here 2 hours and we haven't even played yet.
Right? That's funny.
And I don't have a problem with the people who enjoy it. Enjoy your thing. It's just not for me.
That's right. I didn't realize Warhammer would trigger you. Maybe they knew that. And I bet on it. Right.
One of my best friends actually worked at that Games Workshop. After he got done with college.
All right, so
I'm very familiar with Games Workshop and Warhammer.
All right, so this is the part where I ask you about scars, tattoos, or piercings. You got anything?
Actually, I think most of my scars I've grown out of. I had a scar on my elbow that was a 3rd-degree burn because striking after a conference, all of our tools were pneumatic. And so I went to unplug the hose from the air compressor, and that big copper pipe that goes from the compressor to the tank. I leaned on that. Turns out when that thing's been running for 2 straight hours, that thing will blister your skin off before you feel it.
No shit, man. It's painful.
But yeah, I don't really have any other scars. I don't have tattoos or piercings. It's just never been my thing.
Gotcha.
I used to want to get a full back Celtic knot. Celtic knot and Celtic cross combination, but then I found out that was going to be like $2,500, and I needed a new car.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's see. Do you have any strange collections? Any collections? But Becca was about the strange ones.
Do tools count?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, it's not strange, but that's the only thing I really collect.
Right. So what's the newest tool you just acquired?
The newest one, a long. No, that was my father-in-law. He bought that. The newest tool that I acquired. A jigsaw.
Oh, sweet.
Because I needed to make a chicken coop.
Right. So do you get excited when you're going to Home Depot?
No, because I always, I don't get excited because I'm also the one who watches the bank account.
I got you. It's really tough when you go in there and you see those nice riding mowers and stuff like that, man, and you can't afford it.
Yeah. I got the cheapest riding lawnmower when we moved here. The cheapest one I could get because I needed something. And I wish I'd have splurged and bought a 0 turn.
Man. Okay, let's see. In 40 years, what do you think people will be nostalgic for?
The ability to not go to prison for saying shit on the internet.
Yeah, we're getting close, dude. I totally hear you. All right. So if you could know the absolute and total truth to one question, what would you ask?
How do we get rid of tyranny forever?
That's a great question too. What's the most useless talent you have?
The most useless talent? I don't even know what it's called. So there's a cap above my shoulder. It's like where my clavicle attaches to my shoulder. I can separate that, but not dislocate my shoulder.
Okay.
I can wiggle my ears.
Oh, sweet. Now that's cool too. But the thing, the shoulder thing, Houdini could do that, and that's how we would get out of straitjackets.
Oh no, I can't do it. It's not even that useful. It just pops a little bit.
It just makes a noise.
Like, I wouldn't even be able to get out of a straitjacket. It is that useless. It just looks gross.
But that was, it's an interesting factoid about him that I always thought was interesting. So if you could go back in time and spend a week with anyone, who would it be and why?
Oh, with anyone. If I could speak the same language, I think it would actually be really cool to go and spend a week with Jesus. Like, not during the times where it's written about in the Bible, but just to hang out and be like, dude, just speak into my brain and have like the casual bullshit conversations.
Right.
I mean, my religion teaches that everything he wanted us to know was written down in the Bible. So I don't really need all that extra spiritual stuff.
Right.
But just to find out, like, what's your favorite food?
Yeah.
Did you have a crush on a girl when you were growing up?
Hear him tell a joke. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My uncle is a missionary in Poland, and at the time, the country was almost exclusively Catholic. And he liked to ask people, do you think Jesus ever had to take a shit? And they would get so offended. But if he was completely human, he absolutely had to take a shit.
No doubt. Maybe that's what we was really doing in the garden. Straining so hard it made him bleed. Made him sweat blood. I'm sorry. That's disrespectful.
Hey, you can pray and shit at the same time. Sometimes the two activities are related.
Indeed. Intertwined. All right.
I've had those. Dear Lord, please let this end. It hurts so fucking bad.
All right. So, what's your spirit animal? Is what I call it. Here it is.
Ron Swanson.
Okay. All right. So now we're at the part that I call the Lipton questions. 10 questions that James Lipton would ask everybody he interviewed, and he interviewed a lot of big people. But he would always ask them at some point in his show these 10 questions, and it's kind of like a rapid fire. It's don't ponder it too long to shoot an answer out. It's kind of like that kind of thing, like Rorschach-y kind of idea or word association. What's your favorite word?
Damn it.
What's your least favorite word?
Problematic.
What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Fantasy.
What turns you off?
Cyberpunk.
What's your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
What sound or noise do you love?
My kids telling me hello.
Or what sound or noise do you hate?
Oh man, I can't say that. I'll get in trouble.
Sure you can. You can say anything.
Any kind of screeching. Let's put it that way.
All right. I got you. I'm reading between your lips here. All right. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Oh. Lawyer.
What profession would you not like to do?
Scuba diver in the Orlando sewage system. And yes, that's a thing.
Dude, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Wow. If heaven exists, and you believe it does, I believe, what would you like to hear God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gate?
Well done.
Indeed. All right, so this is the time, y'all. Queue up your questions, or questions, as I say. All right, questions, same thing. And put multiple question marks to please give us a signal. That's what you want to. Buckety bye. Okay. Some of these, I'm going through the chat. Just saying, hey, Dumbbeard, what's up, man? All right, Dumbbeard's kind of hanging around like that. I like that, man. Maybe I'll meet you one day. Shouting at clouds. I agree. Thumbs up on the Jesus thing. You know, to me, you know, if you break the Jesus' message down to is simply it means to love each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah,
love with all your heart. And,
I mean, the Bible really comes down to love God, love people.
Yeah. And, you know, it's people muddied that up and, you know, twist it to, you know, it can be used like socialism. We've seen socialism become a religion, you know, and the zealots they screw it up for everybody, man, you know?
Yep.
So, all right, what's your favorite time of day? Becca wants to know. Always got questions, that one.
Favorite time of day is probably the evening. The weather's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's dinner time with my kids. Yeah, evening.
What's your worst flavor of ice cream?
Anything licorice. No, anything with nuts. Nuts do not belong in desserts. Fight me.
Okay. What do you think of Barbara from Barbara For You to See?
I have no idea what that is.
All right, so Barbara, For You to See, she's this Slovenian girl that was doing some acting stuff. Went to UCLA, lived in the United States for a little bit, but she's funny. She's attractive blonde girl, very young, but kind of cool in a nerdy kind of way. I dig it. I think she's talented. But yeah, she's got some channels. So, hey Bunny, what up, girl? What should new parents who don't practice religion do to help to foster decent behavior in an ever increasingly degenerate society? That's a fantastic question.
Find the examples. First of all, you don't have to use religion specifically to use the examples in religion.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you view it as fiction, good values are good values. So find examples of good values. And like I try and teach my kids with religion that God set these rules for us for a reason. It's for our benefit. Don't cheat on your spouse because you might give your spouse the HIV. You don't murder other people because if everyone follows that rule, you don't have to be afraid of being murdered by somebody else. Women need to leave town for a week when it's that time of the month because nobody wants to fucking be around you. It's that kind of thing. It's all for your own good.
No shit. Oh, dude. All right, so more questions. I thought I saw something. Which YouTuber from the skeptic community have you gone into deep the most?
Sorry.
All right, so who? All right, so what? Whose content in the skeptic community would you say you've consumed the most of? If you could pick up
Sargon by a long shot. I didn't know what the skeptic community was until Gamergate. I found out about Gamergate because I was following Adam Baldwin on Twitter, and he's like, I'm going to be on this show. I'm like, oh, cool. Get more Adam Baldwin right into my veins. And that's when I found out about everything, was when he went on the Ed Morrissey show with with Jim when he was the internet aristocrat. And so then I'm like, okay, I need to find out what all this shit's about. So I discovered Jim and Sargon and a bunch of the other people.
Yeah.
And the rest, as they say, is Trump needs to tweet out Gamergate 2.0.
Indeed, man. Oh, it's funny how shit, dude. You hear this stuff would happen with Ethan Ralph last night? Or night before last?
I don't follow the IBS crew.
Okay, well,
I had some run-ins with them, trying to make fun of the IBS, and a couple of people in that community gave me a warning and said, "Hey, they're trying to dox you for this joke that got 20 views," and so I basically locked everything down and won't touch it. I won't go near it anymore.
Yeah, they got really thin skins over there, man. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You think, I don't know, man. Anyway, that's sad. That's really sad.
Yep.
But let's see.
By the way, I've not been doxxed, and I'm not trying to make myself out to be a victim. I poked a hornet's nest. I shouldn't be surprised when they try to sting me.
All right, so if you could go to any country outside of the United States, where would you go?
I would love to go to Ireland or Scotland. My family is originally mostly from Ireland, and I love Scotch.
I bet, man. You get, and it's cheap over there too, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't, see, bad things happen when I drink alcohol. That's why I don't. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of those people. It's, yeah. Those people that you've heard about, I'm one of those people.
I've worked with a few of them. The AV industry is full of those people.
Oh, that's right, dude. Jesus. Oh, don't get me started. I ran a couple soundboards back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I was a bouncer soundboard guy at a bar for about a week, maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it was horrible. Let's see. All right. A couple more questions. Who in the skeptic community has disappointed you the most? Jack Unsky wants to know. Always asking those controversial questions, Jack.
Yeah, because they totally give a fuck about little old me. Disappointed me the most. I would say all of them, except for Sargon. And I'll tell you for why. The skeptic community was all about skepticism and questioning the narrative, and anti-social justice. And for the most part, they have completely embraced it because they're Bernie bros. Because they're not atheists. They're anti-theists. There is a difference.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, that emerged from that anti-theist group, became the skeptics, right? Because they were skeptical about the existence of God. And then this stuff got their attention. And then they kind of went, and it's like, voids always get filled. Nature abhors a void. I mean, a vacuum, excuse me. Right.
And they embraced the anti-theism, and the biggest ally they had against Christians specifically was Bernie. And so they had to dive back into and basically say, yeah, this intersectional feminism bullshit is actually okay because the enemy of the Christians are going to be my friend. So just snort that shit up through a $100 bill.
Roll it up and chop me some. Let's see. What's the best fried chicken?
I actually don't eat that much fried chicken because I was never allowed to get the drumstick because if my family bought it, like not my immediate family, but the extended family bought it, we bought it for our kids. You should let our kids have the drumstick. And if my family bought it, they're the guests, so you should let them have the drumstick. So I don't eat fried chicken that much.
Understood. All right, pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
All right.
If it is the right mood and it is the right pizza. What does not belong on pizza is chicken, barbecue sauce, or fish.
Fair enough. McDonald's Church's chicken, you're not wrong. All right, Popeyes is good too, Pat. Pat and me, we know we're the real good, and you can get a wing snack for $2 at Popeyes. Just saying.
I have had KFC and Kroger.
Right on.
So.
Yeah, everybody loves fried chicken over here because we're all Southerners. Grew up with that stuff. Mama's cooking. Madness asks, which YouTuber of the skeptic community has gone completely crazy to show their former self?
Dave fucking Cullen. And part of it is he's fucking Irish, he's Catholic, and Catholics are wrong. And he has just full-fledged, some of the stuff he says is fine, but he has full-on embraced the NWO. I would not be surprised if he was a flat earther at this point. The Illuminati, the lizard people, the whole 9 yards.
I don't know, man. That Great Reset thing has looks like it's got some legs to it. I don't know. It's
of course, they published that in a paper. Like that's not a conspiracy theory,
right.
But it's the other, like the deeper level, the lizard people, the clones, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like he's gone a little wackadoodle.
Transdimensional demons.
Yeah.
Right. And shit. Well, it's like I get it. Let's see who else to see. All right, who in the subject community has disappointed you the most?
All the ones who said we need an internet bill of rights and then ignored the emails that I sent them. And I know you read it. I put a fucking tracking pixel in the email. Sorry, did I think that bitterness out loud?
You did. You did. You did. All right, so where are we going here? Kitties or doggies?
Dogs. Cats are the devil.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, here's the way I say it to people. A dog would take a bullet for you. A cat will watch you take a bullet and then walk off and then eat your face when you're dead. Right?
Yeah, as Craig Ferguson said, if you die alone in your house, your cat will eat you.
Exactly. Your lips and nose will be gone at least by the time the cops will get there. So, yeah. Good question, though. Dogs or cats? Texas barbecue is the best barbecue. Becca, you don't have... I'm just saying right now. That's fighting. Look, that's fighting words.
Have you had Memphis Mac?
Dude, so the best barbecue I've ever eaten in my entire life, and I'm a connoisseur, was in Memphis. My band was playing in Memphis. We were in downtown Memphis, and we saw this just like it was like a window, like a big open window in the side of a building downtown. And it was like these three black dudes. And you what you do is you walk up and you order it. And we walked up, we ordered it, man, and you carry it back, and we're eating it in the car going, holy shit, this is the best stuff. And we couldn't find the place again. So that's my little barbecue story.
The ghost barbecue thing. But do you know what Memphis Mac is?
Is that a specific
it's a dish.
Oh no.
Okay, so what you do is you take pulled pork with some great Memphis barbecue sauce on it, stick it on a bowl of mac and cheese.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
It's delicious. The first time I ever had it was at the Nashville Zoo.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
It's good shit.
What do you think of bread tube? Damn, Madness just got questions all day long.
I do not know what is a bread tube.
Bread tube is the section of YouTube where it's like Vosh and all those the commies. The commie skeptic. Does Arthur want the links of both Barbara's channels so he can check her channels out for himself? I'll hook him up with that. Madness, no problem.
Man,
all right,
I'll check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, she's funny, and she'll pick you up on the. I don't know. I sometimes I'll watch her content just because I just need to just laugh at shit. Beckett, lol. Yeah, right on. You've declared war, woman. I want you to know this right now about barbecue. War is afoot. She knows we're playing. I'm playing with it.
Look, Tennessee barbecue has to be better because if Tennessee hadn't been around, Texas wouldn't be a state. Do you know why?
Well, all right, here's the deal. All right,
State?
with Texas, though, they got the beef, right? They got a lot of cattle, and so they've got the brisket thing, and they think that qualifies as actual barbecue.
It doesn't matter. Texas wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Tennessee.
Yeah,
Tennessee is called the volunteer state because Texas, in the Mexican War, asked for 10,000 people, and Tennessee sent 480,000 people.
Yeah.
To go help.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, so we're at the point. What do you think of the EU?
It's dog shit.
That's a compliment in my book. Just saying. Yeah, they look. The UN needs to be raised. I think everybody knows that. The FBI needs to be just dissolved. They're useless at this point. If you notice every big like shoot 'em up that's first one person shooter that's occurred. Even the Boston bombers, the FBI had interviewed these people several times, or at least knew about them, and they still kill people. So what the fuck? I'm just saying. All right, I needed to get that off my chest because, Friday's show, everybody, you should check it out because there's this horrible shit going on in the state of Missouri, right?
Yep, St. Louis County, Missouri.
St. Louis County, Missouri, and it involves family court.
Yep,
making just a huge shitload of money off of sending kids to foster situations. What are they? Guardian ad litem's.
Yep.
All this stuff. Check out that episode because it had me raging, man. And I mean, and they just hired that lady. She just got voted in that George Soros was backing. The one that wanted to put the people with the guns that were trying to protect their property from the mob. Yep. Yeah, she's Soros's choice. He put money behind her, and you know what I'm saying. They're not serious until they put the money up. So you know what that's about. All right, so we're at the point of where we're asking. Who would you say is a criminally subscribed YouTuber on this side of the YouTubes besides Ridgedale Brand?
Memes of Destruction is really good and deserves more support.
Man, I like his Saitama stuff. It's doing that workout. He's still doing it, I think. All right, so we kind of talked about overhyped people, but who's the most overhyped YouTuber in your opinion?
Right now, Steven Crowder.
Wow.
He's good, but he's samey. Either that or Tim Pool.
I like the way you shoot from the hip like that. You got some cojones on you. I like that.
Well, I don't have a problem with either of those guys. I just think that
they're overrated.
The amount of work that they put in, there is so much that they could be doing better.
I understand what you're saying. That with all the money that they're spending on production, there's probably cheaper ways to
it's not even
reach a larger audience.
There is that, but it's also the amount of research they put in. They miss the point. They're not getting to the heart of the issue, in my opinion, as much as they could be.
Right. Well, you know, if you do that, then you'll get yeeted off of YouTube. And if you do it loud enough, you get yeeted off the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I totally hear you. All right. So talk about your plans for your content, what you got coming up, and show your channel, because we're at the end of the road.
Mitch is working on writing a kind of 1940s style radio show parody. I'm not going to go into too much detail because Mitch knows more about it than I do. He's working on the writing, but we're going to be acting in it together. And that's actually going to be exclusive content over on the Locals page. It's going to be an audio only thing. There will be some episodes going up on YouTube, and then some episodes going that will be available for free members, and then some of it is going to be available exclusively to paid members on the Locals community. So that's one of the things we're trying to do to create in addition to our political and social commentary.
Do you recommend opening socials if you've got content here?
If you want to have support, Locals is the place to go. I think that functions better than Subscribestar. I think it functions better than Patreon. You can host your own content there. The only thing they don't allow for their terms of service is porn and threats of violence, or encouragement of violence. And that's both for legal reasons. Everything else they allow. And so you can sign it up. It's your own social network. So ridgedalebrand.locals.com, that's us. I've stopped maintaining the website as a result of that, because that's just our website. Our rhetoricalentertainment.com redirects to the Locals page now.
Cool.
And that's where everything that we post is going. So you can, if you don't get notifications on YouTube, go to the Locals page, sign up for a free membership. You don't have to give us any amount of money. It'll still give you the notification when we're about ready to go live, and you can head over to the YouTube channel through there. And then there's exclusive content as well, for both free members and paid members. It's not about the money. It's about building a community to have good conversations and giving exclusive content to people in that location.
Right. Weren't you guys talking about Odyssey as adding a streaming thing coming up? Was that y'all?
I think it was Laszlo. Laszlo the Instigator had mentioned that was a possibility in our comments.
Okay.
And so I'd mentioned that on Friday, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, that's great for live streams. Locals is also going to be doing live streaming soon, I think. I want to be streaming and uploading videos to as many places as I can.
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
But if you want to have a hub to find out everything, the Locals page is the place to do it. And there's stuff there that's not going to be anywhere else.
Well, and that sounds interesting that you can put some stuff behind a paywall, you know, for like premium members. You give give them a little extra. That's pretty cool. You just sold me on it. So this dude, you should be in sales. I mean, shit, that was Dave Rubin needs to hire your ass. All right, so before we end the show, it's tradition for you to show your channel and give the chat a final word before we call it a show.
Okay, well, Ridgedale Brand, look for Ridgedale Brand in YouTube or the Locals page. I'm at Arthur the Hat on Twitter, and every other social media site is Rhetorical Entertainment. If you can figure out how to spell rhetorical, you'll probably find me. And my last word is, it doesn't matter how hard you try, you're going to fail eventually, and what you do next is what's important.
And if everybody refreshes their page,
why do we make
you'll see it down at the bottom that there's a link to Arthur's Twitter and to the Ridgedale Brand, the YouTube links. So, you know, pop those links, subscribe, hit the bell, ring the bell, just like you do here. Okay. And with that, I'm out of questions, man.
All right,
man. I've had a great time just hanging out and talking with you. It's like we went places I didn't expect us to go, and I liked it. I like the cut of the jib of your cut, or whatever the phrase is. And on that note, tomorrow Beck and I will be looking at something anti-communist. We may have to start just doing that show on on Twitch. Just because we keep getting bopped. For some reason, anti-communist propaganda that I put out there gets stepped on and stomped on by people like Facebook and YouTube. Why would that be? Why would that be? Makes you shake your head and go, what the fuck? And then next week, Drone Tech is going to be in the chair. So I don't know if you guys know him, but he's a new guy on the scene. He's growing really fast, and he's very laid back and cool. So should have a good time. And Becca's right. Twitch isn't so strict, is it? So maybe we need to meet later and talk about this Miss Becca. Anyway, and on that note, I got nothing left to say. What about you, Mr. Arthur Nix?
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, everybody, I do want to thank the chat for coming in, hanging out. Picked it up, ended strong. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. It is truth. You're right, Madness. It is the truth. And on that note, I'm going to say bye. How about you?
Peace out.
Again, I want to say thanks to everybody. It was awesome. See y'all next time.